The first time Maya hears the words, they hit harder than the broom that follows. "You filthy black maid. You dare try to get close to my daughter?" The hiss of the espresso machine dies in Harlem Beans Café, the air turning heavy, tables falling silent except for one child's faint breath. Maya is mid-sign, her hands moving in the smooth rhythm of American Sign Language, speaking in her way to a little girl tucked in the corner booth. The girl's smile tinny, tremulous, maybe 2 years in the making freezes in place as the man looming over them snatches a broom like it's a sword. Historians still argue whether adrenaline makes you faster or just braver, but they all agree it can't make people around you any less stunned. Ethan Cole is a billionaire, the kind of man whose name gets dropped at fundraisers like it's a currency. Right now, though, he looks less like a tech mogul and more like someone auditioning for World's Angriest Dad. He swings once, the broom cracking against Maya's shoulder, gasps popping around the cafe. She lifts her hands not to block, not to fight back, but to keep her voice calm enough to explain. He cuts her off mid-breath, voice cold, loud enough for everyone to hear about schemes and types and dirty tricks. Somewhere behind him, an older man leans toward his wife, offering the kind of commentary you'd find in the comment section under a conspiracy video. A woman in a silk scarf whispers about lawsuits and handouts. The words weave through the air like smoke, acrid and impossible to ignore. The cafe owner hesitates, caught between his biggest customer and his best employee. Ethan orders her gone. Maya folds her apron, straightens her spine, and walks toward the door right until she spots the girl outside, crouched with chalk in hand, dangerously close to the curb. Then everything shifts into that movie slow blur. The squeal of a delivery van's brakes, the weight of a small body in her arms, her own shoulders slamming against the concrete as the van misses by inches. When the world snaps back into real time, Emily is clinging to her, Ethan's fury swapped for shock. Emily signs one word safe than thank you. Ethan's jaw works like he's chewing on something too big to swallow. The broom lies inside, forgotten. Back in the cafe, whispers have gone awkwardly quiet. Maya answers his halting apology with a steady gaze. An apology isn't a cure, but sometimes it's the only coin someone's willing to spend. He offers her a job, not just any job, a chance to work with Emily daily, to speak the only language that seems to reach her. She doesn't say yes, but she doesn't say no. Outside, autumn air wraps around them. Inside, the air tastes different now, as if the insult still lingers, but the balance has shifted a notch in her favor. The Cole estate rises out of the Westchester mist like something a novelist would spend 3 paragraphs describing: stone walls that catch the morning light, a driveway long enough to qualify as its own zip code, and hedges trimmed so neatly you half expect to find a spirit level tucked under each gardener's arm. Maya steps out of the town car, through the front entrance, first time she's entered a place like this without carrying a tray. Historians still argue whether architecture is meant to impress or intimidate, but in her case, it's doing both. Emily peeks from behind Ethan's suit jacket, sketch pad clutched tight. The study where they'll work is warm and bright, stocked with paper, markers, and a laptop that probably has more processing power than the cafe's entire Wi-Fi system. Their first lesson is easy: colors, animals, simple actions, with a few intentional mistakes from Maya that make Emily giggle. But the doorframe becomes a stage for tension when Margaret, the chief of staff, appears. Her smile is tight as fishing line, her voice clipped. Will Miss Williams be using the main entrance daily? Ethan says yes. Margaret files the answer away behind eyes that say, "You don't belong here." By lunch, Emily is relaxed enough to sign jokes about needing GPS to find the kitchen, but whispers from the hall remind Maya that not everyone is rooting for her. Daniel Rodas, Ethan's old friend, materializes in the garden, sunglasses in his hair and smirk dialed up to maximum. He sizes her up like she's a product at auction, dropping lines about how outsiders don't last here. Emily's hand slips into Maya's, her silent vote of confidence. It escalates fast after that. Margaret reminds her that favor changes quickly. Daniel's comments turn into low-grade threats. And then there's the boardroom polished wood, colder than the marble floors where Daniel and a silver-haired investor frame her as a PR risk. Perception over truth, they say, as if the two never shake hands. Ethan shuts them down in the moment, but she can feel the verdict in the way eyes linger when she leaves. They're just waiting for the first excuse. So Maya starts her own quiet countermove. She meets Reggie, a fixer with a resume that's half security detail, half urban legend. He digs into Daniel's shadow world. A private club, off-the-record warehouses, the same stylized Vion crates that no one's supposed to notice. The deeper they look, the more it smells like something that would keep federal agents up at night. Her break comes with a manila envelope photos of Daniel at that club, arm in arm with a man recently linked to fraud and at a warehouse loading unmarked crates. It's not proof, but it's enough to bait a man like Daniel. The trick, Reggie warns, is knowing whether you want leverage or war. Maya's answer is both. If Daniel wants her gone, he's going to have to step into the light to do it. And she's already setting the stage. The bait dangles at Pier 19 under a mist so thick it eats the light from the single yellow bulb above the loading bay. Maya stands by a rusted crane in a borrowed sedan, clutching an envelope that pretends to hold the photos Daniel would rather burn than see leaked. Historians still argue whether fog muffles sound or just tricks your ears into thinking you're safer than you are either way. Her pulse sounds louder than the lapping water. Daniel emerges first, coat collar turned up, smile sharp enough to slice through the damp air. He circles her, voice low, offering safety in exchange for the envelope and her permanent disappearance from the coal world. She tells him the trade includes leaving Emily alone. His smile thins. He steps closer, whispering that people like her don't win here. That's Ethan's cue shadows detached from the containers, two of his men recording everything. But Daniel's ready too. Headlights flare, SUVs roll in, and 4 more men fan out. Before it boils over, sirens cut through the night. Not NYPD FBI. Agents swarm, shouting commands, weapons trained. Chaos blooms. Daniel's men freeze or scatter. Daniel himself goes still, arrested without a struggle, but not without leaning close to tell Maya she's lit a fire she can't control. Back at the estate, relief is brief. The papers splash her face next to Ethan's in headlines about the mystery woman tied to the bust. Margaret warns she's already a target. Then a new name surfaces, Calvin Vance, and the message left with Emily's school photo says plainly, she'll be safer with us. Ethan wants caution. Maya wants offense. Reggie gets her an invite into Vance's Silver Crown Club, where the air smells like aged whiskey and unspoken deals. She listens more than she talks, letting Vance brag about shipments dressed as antiques, enough breadcrumbs for Agent Hall to track. Days later at Eastport Docks, she plays quality inspector, brushes a crate's carved panel, and feels cold metal beneath. A flashlight signal brings Hall's team flooding in. Gunfire cracks. Agents seize the crates, and Vance is cuffed, telling her she's made a mistake. Driving back, Ethan says they protected Emily tonight. Maya keeps a hand in her pocket, fingers curled around one of Emily's drawing saw, tall woman shielding a small girl from a dark wave. She stands in Emily's doorway later, watching her sleep, and knows the wave isn't gone. But she's not the same woman who was humiliated in a cafe weeks ago. She's walked through the fire twice now and still stands, ready for whatever shadows step forward next. The night air outside her window is cool. The city hums softened by distance. The image is slow, fog curling over crates, Emily's shy smile when she gets a sign right, the way fear looks different when you've decided not to run from it. The noise of the past weeks fades under a steadier rhythm, the quiet breath of someone asleep in the next room, the low murmur of leaves in the wind. The fight isn't over, but not every hour needs to be spent bracing for the next blow. For now, it's enough to let the guardrails of routine hold, to let the mind step back from the edge. If courage is acting in spite of fear, then rest is the space where that courage refills itself, one calm inhale at a time. And in that pause, with the weight eased from her shoulders, she can almost believe the storm will pass completely.